Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you some more news regarding Paul Pogba. So according to recent reports, Paul Pogba is demanding £500,000 a week to sign a new contract at Manchester United. If we was to meet his demands, it would take his overall earnings to nearly £800,000 a week, because he's on like £290,000 a week at the moment. Now, earlier on this season, we triggered that 1 year extension on his contract, so he's under contract on Man United until 2022. So his current contract expires next year. We've been getting the best out of Paul Pogba in recent months. His performances have been very, very good. He brings creativity to the team. And I think he's more effective in an advanced role. And we've been playing him in more of an advanced role recently. I'm not too keen on him in a deeper role. We've played him in a deeper role quite a few times. Earlier on this season, he was out with a thigh injury for a while. He was out for the first part of this season with an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So he's sustained a few injuries now at Manchester United. Solskjaer said earlier on this season that Paul Pogba's future lies at Old Trafford, and he hopes that Paul Pogba will stay and sign a new contract. He did mention that our players would be devastated if the club decided to sell Pogba in the summer transfer window. Now, as it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing, because we paid £89 million for him. And this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. He's won 3 trophies at Man United. That's the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield. We had him when he was a lot younger under the Sir Alex Ferguson era, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. But yeah, Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him. Barcelona have been in for him, and his former club Juventus have been in for him. I said there's a good chance he'll go back to Juventus if he leaves Man United, because Pogba did endure 4 exceptional years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. And swap deals have been high on the agenda now. There was reports from Italy recently saying that there could be a swap deal involving Cristiano Ronaldo and Paul Pogba. Do you think that would be a good swap deal from a Man United perspective and a Juventus perspective? Said earlier on this season that Juventus were willing to offer us Paulo Dybala in exchange for Pogba. Earlier on this season, it said that Juventus had told Mino Raiola that they cannot afford Pogba, so reflecting on that, he won't be making a return to Juventus. Damasio said earlier on this season that Paul Pogba still wants to quit Manchester United. He said he's got no intentions of extending his contract to Man United. And he said his preferred destination is Juventus. Mino Raiola has obviously been desperate to get his client out of the football club. He was doing a lot of talking quite a few weeks ago now. He criticised Sir Alex Ferguson for forcing Pogba out of the club when he was a lot younger. I presume all United fans disagreed with him criticising Ferguson. He said he doesn't give a fuck if he doesn't take another player to Man United as long as his clients are happy. He did say earlier on this season, though, that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season, and he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Because Mini Oriol doesn't have a good relationship with Man United and he has been criticised a lot. He made an announcement back in December regarding Pogba and Solskjaer's furies with Mini Oriola's announcement, because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. Matthias Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, he gave us an update on Pogba's future earlier on this season, and he advised us to sell Paul Pogba because he said there's a good chance he'll leave on a free next year, and he did mention that he's got no intentions of extending his contract. Paul Pogba, by the way, recently gave an exclusive interview to Sky, like I updated you. He criticised Jose Mourinho. He came out and said that Jose Mourinho went against the players, and he said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is different. So, reflecting on that, Paul Pogba is 100% Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. Jose Mourinho has hit back at Paul Pogba's comments, and he said doesn't care less what he said. Now, I want to delve into some news on Erling Haaland. So, who will Erling Haaland's next club be? Now, Erling Haaland is our number one transfer priority. There was reports coming out yesterday saying that Manchester United are relying on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's close bond with Haaland to secure the signing of the player. Erling Haaland leaving Borussia Dortmund looks very likely after Borussia Dortmund's Champions League exit to Manchester City. Now, the Express said not so long ago that Man United are worried about the Erling Haaland transfer pursuit because of Jadon Sancho. Mini Oriola wants to make Erling Haaland the first £1 million a week player. He said a few weeks ago that we declined to meet Mini Oriola over discussing a possible deal for Haaland. Mini Oriola and Erling Haaland's father, Alf-Inge Haaland, have already been to England for talks with several Premier League clubs. They've also held talks with Barcelona and Real Madrid. Yep, I'd certainly take Erling Haaland at Manchester United. The main explanations is because he knows Ole Gunnar Solskjaer well. Solskjaer gave him his debut at just the age of 16 at Mulder. Plus, Erling Haaland would assure his goals. And 3, he's still young and he's got a lot of development in him. Now, a few weeks ago, it said that Solskjaer kept calling Erling Haaland to persuade him to join Manchester United because earlier on this season, it said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was following his progress and he was keeping in touch with the player. Solskjaer also revealed how impressed he was with Erling Haaland's training at Mulder. But he made an admission saying that he struggled with bad knees at Mulder. Prior to the game against Brighton in his press conference, he played down talks of Man United chasing Haaland, and he said the player will make his own mind up. The Athletic said not so long ago that Man United are one of the clubs that can afford him, but he actually said Haaland to Man United is off following Mini Oriola's roadshow. Dortmund are demanding 150 million. That's obviously a substantial amount. Erling Haaland does have a £68 million release clause, but it doesn't become active until next year. Erling Haaland has been at Dortmund over a year now. Dortmund paid £17 million for him and he's got a contract with them till 2024. Don't forget, back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. I think Haaland's actually interested in making a move to Real Madrid. But I can assure if he comes to the Premier League, he will exceed expectations and he'll replicate what he's done at Borussia Dortmund. But yeah, there is a lot of players that we are looking at, as you all know. You know the news on Raphael Varane. Christian Falk from Bild came out yesterday and said that Chelsea have entered the race for Raphael Varane. So now we do face competition. Reports from Spain said a few days ago that Man United are in advanced talks with Raphael Varane. So it said Varane to Man United is close. Real Madrid are demanding £60 million, but we hope to lower Real Madrid's £60 million asking price, and Raphael Varane is ready to leave Real Madrid because his contract talks with Real Madrid have stalled. Earlier on this season, the Spanish transfer expert Eduardo Inda came out and said that Raphael Varane could be on his way to Man United in the summer. Earlier on this season, it said that Real Madrid are prepared to sell Raphael Varane on one condition: he must inform Real Madrid on his decision to leave. Back in 2018, Woodward was prepared to sanction a £100 million move. Varane would go very, very well alongside Maguire in our back line. You know, he's been a long-serving player at Real Madrid. He's been with them 10 years. He's won 18 major honours and he's made over 300 appearances. Madrid got him for next to nothing. They paid just €10 million for him from Lens. The most recent defender to be on our agenda is Wesley Fofana from Leicester. There was reports coming out from France yesterday saying that Man United have made contact with Leicester over a possible move for Fofana. Leicester are demanding £80 million. So we're going to have to pay the exact same fee as what we paid for Harry Maguire in the summer of 2019. In the summer transfer window though, I'm expecting Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings. The summer transfer window will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. So far he's endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. And so far he's spent almost £300 million. Earlier on this season, he said that Man United will spend big in the summer transfer window, but Solskjaer did mention that he wants to keep transfer dealings quiet. I've identified the areas where we need to strengthen up. We need a striker, we need a right winger, we need a defensive midfielder, and we also need a centre-half. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer did warn that we may not do business as usual in the summer transfer window due to the pandemic, but he said he's interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. I can assure Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window because we've already made it clear that he will not be sacked even if we fail to win the Europa League. The Europa League is our only chance of any silverware this season. And we've got a very, very good chance of winning the Europa League. We are in the semi-finals now. That's 5 semi-finals under Ole. Solskjaer did say that we're aiming to finish the season with a trophy, so that would make it a great season. We haven't won a trophy since 2017, so if we fail to win the Europa League this season, that would be exactly 4 years without a trophy. Solskjaer knows how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. I can assure we'll finish in the top 4 in the league this season. Reflecting on our last league win against Tottenham, I'd say that secures us a second place finish. Solskjaer should get the backing he deserves in the summer transfer window, because obviously we've got John Murtough, he's our director of football, and it was the right decision by the club getting a director of football in, because I did mention that's one of the structural changes that we needed. And he's our first ever director of football, by the way, and Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director, and he knows the club through thick and thin. And obviously Woodward, he's standing by Solskjaer. Woodward's already come out and said that he believes Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. He did release a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing Ole. Even when we was enjoying them really bad periods under Solskjaer, Woodward came out quite a few times and assured that Solskjaer's job was safe. Because like I've mentioned so many times before, our board have a soft stance on Solskjaer with him being a legend of the club. With Solskjaer being a club legend, I think that's what saved him. Disregarding being a club legend, I can almost assure he wouldn't have been Manchester United manager now. But like I've said in regards to Ole, he does deserve at least another season at Man United because progress has been made in certain aspects. Next season will be his 3rd full season at the club. Solskjaer's already agreed a new 3-year contract worth 30 million. Does he deserve a new contract? Yeah, in some aspects. Maybe some aspects he doesn't. He's still got like 1 year left on his current 3-year contract. But there has been a lot of Manchester United fans demanding Ole out. They've obviously got the main explanations why they want him out. But I presume there's a lot of United fans that are still Ole in and believes that he needs more time. I've already assured he's not the long-term manager for Man United. But I hope I'm proven wrong. We're going to focus on the outgoings as well in the summer transfer window. I think there's a good chance that Edinson Cavani will leave. But a lot of Manchester United fans want Edinson Cavani to stay for next season. I do, and I presume Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants him to stay for next season. It recently said that we'd been handed a boost, by the way, in our attempt to keep hold of Edinson Cavani because the Uruguay manager advised Edinson Cavani to stay in Europe. Solskjaer said prior to the Tottenham game he's unsure over Cavani's future. We've already held showdown talks with Edinson Cavani over his future at the club. Now, Footballer Insider said not so long ago that Cavani's willing to take a pay cut to join Boca Juniors. He's already got a verbal agreement with them and Boca Juniors are willing to offer him a 3-year contract. Marcus Rojo the other week urged Edinson Cavani to quit Man United for Boca Juniors by promising to take him fishing. Rojo's already held conversations with Edinson Cavani over a move to Boca Juniors. Edinson Cavani's current contract expires at the end of the season, but there's an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Solskjaer did say earlier on this season that Cavani was closer to Boca Juniors and staying at Man United. And Edinson Cavani's father came out and said that Cavani's unhappy, he wants to leave, and he's not comfortable in England. But Cavani's made an impact since he's come in a lot of his games at Man United. His hold-up play's been good, he's created chances, he's scored good goals. His movement in and out of the box has been good, but there's been some games where he hasn't got enough service and he's been isolated. Got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a second year. A lot of United fans are saying that we need to sell Anthony Martial in the summer transfer window because he's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. The chances have been there for him, but he hasn't converted them. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer said he was backing Martial to rediscover his form, and he said he's been impressed with his work rate. Martial's out with injury at the moment. It's very, very likely he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Solskjaer confirmed that not so long ago. Martial sustained the injury whilst he was on international duty with France. I reckon Martial's had 2 good seasons. He was good last season and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club over 5 years. I think it was last season Solskjaer gave him that number 9 shirt. Very good chance that we're going to offload Juan Mata because he doesn't get in R11. The first part of this season, Juan Mata rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. His current contract expires in June, I think, but there's an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Ollie said earlier on this season he wasn't surprised that Mata was linked with a move away from the club, but he's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years. We got him in a deal worth 40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. The Nemanja Matic, I think there's a good chance we'll offload him in the summer transfer window because he's not one of our first choice midfielders. But he still gets his chances, and in some games he's been consistent, but analysing it, the vast majority of his games he's been very inconsistent, and I think the club made a mistake giving him that new 3-year contract before the start of the season. I've had my strong reservations about Matic because he's always been a slow player, and plus he's in his 30s now. He's been at the club almost 4 years. We got him in a deal worth 40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Donny van der Beek, I think he needs to go in the summer transfer window because he's not getting enough opportunities at Manchester United. If he was getting enough opportunities, then I'd be saying totally different. I'd say keep Donny van der Beek because in general he is a very good player. But most of his appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season as Donny van der Beek. There has actually been talks of an Adrian Rabiot and Donny van der Beek swap deal. Ronald de Boer has actually backed Donny van der Beek to become a success at Man United. And he said earlier on this season he still feels loved at the club despite his lack of game time. Said earlier on this season that Van der Beek wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future, and prior to that he said he wants to quit Man United after 1 season due to his lack of game time. ESPN said back in January that we rejected several loan offers for Van der Beek. We was reluctant to let him go. We got him in a deal worth 40 million from Ajax last summer, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. Phil Jones, I'm expecting us to offload him. Well, I want us to offload him because he's always been inconsistent for a start, and he doesn't get in R11, and plus he's been out of injury for like 14-15 months now. Jones is the only outfield player that's still here from the Ferguson era. This is Phil Jones' 10th season at Manchester United, so he's been a long servant. Will we offload Eric Bailly in the summer transfer window? Probably not. Solskjaer did confirm in his press conference, building up to the game against Burnley today, that he's relaxed over Eric Bailly's future, and he did confirm that we are in contract talks with the player. Solskjaer hopes he'll be able to feature against Burnley because Bay's been out with Corona. It said not so long ago that contract talks were on hold for Eric Bay because he wants assurances over his playing time. You know, Bay did apologise to Solskjaer and his Man United teammates earlier on this season for his disrespectful behaviour, because it said that Bay was furious with Ole because he felt disrespected and not wanted by him at the club. Bay said we're only offering him a new contract to simply increase his asking price. He's got like 40 months left now on his current contract. Good centre half. My only element of concern is that he's injury prone, so in that aspect he's definitely a liability. Axel Tuanzebe, will we offload him because he doesn't get an R11? Good chance that we'll offload David De Gea in the summer transfer window. Some Man United fans think it would be a mistake to let De Gea go in the summer transfer window, but I don't think it would be, because I reckon he's now had his years at Manchester United. I can also see us offloading Romero because he's now our third or fourth choice goalkeeper. But there's a lot of players that will stay at Man United in the summer transfer window. And I reckon there's quite a few players that have got long-term futures at the club. Dean Henderson, I can assure he'll stay. I think he's got a long-term future at Man United. Luke Shaw, he'll stay. Might have a long-term future at the club. He's been our best player this season, as Luke Shaw. Been very, very good. Harry Maguire will stay, but I don't know about long-term. Lindelof will stay potentially past the summer, but I don't think he'll be here long term. And Wan-Bissaka, I think he'll stay long term. Fred, I think he'll stay potentially past the summer, but I'm sceptical he'll be here long term. McTominay will stay. You know, McTominay's not at that level where I want him to be at as yet. But can he emulate to that level? McTominay's still young. He's got a lot of development in him and he's a decent player. Bruno Fernandes, kind of sure he'll stay. Mason Greenwood will stay. He's been superb since he broke into our first team squad. I think Marcus Rashford will also stay. And like I've said, Cavani could stay for next season. Amad Diallo Traore, he'll also stay as well. I said he looks a good asset for the first team. Daniel James will stay because obviously he's got his way back into the team. He's been playing a lot of football in the last month or so, is it more? At one point he lost his place in the team. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I've said, he is our best manager since Ferguson. You know, he's our fourth permanent manager since Ferguson. He's been Manchester United manager now over 2 years. Like I've said, I do have my concerns about Ole. But there's positivity regarding Solskjaer as well. You know, he has made good signings as Manchester United manager. He's spent almost £300 million, like I've already said. He's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he's come in. You know, this season he's done well in certain aspects. He got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, got us to the FA Cup quarter-final, and now he's got us to the Europa League semi-final. We're unbeaten in our last 23 Premier League away games, so we haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. When was 14 games unbeaten before we lost 3-1 to Leicester in the quarter-final of the FA Cup. Last season, Ole's first full season, he guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League and got us a third place finish. We went on the 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season. We was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. I like the way Ole's promoted the youth. He's beaten big-name managers. And in general, we've enjoyed good periods under Ole where we have seen consistency. And in some of them good periods, he's got the best out of the team. So there are the positives. Reflecting how long Solskjaer's been at the club, he's gained some managerial experience and he's learnt quite a bit on the job, and he's tried quite a few different elements, such as like he's tried different formations, he's rotated the squad a lot. You know what I mean? You know, we did appoint Ollie in December 2018 and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. The reason we gave him the job permanently a couple of years ago was reflecting how well he did as the interim manager. He was the interim manager for 3 months and he won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. But Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. He knew. And there's a lot of United fans that think he's in a position that he shouldn't be really in. But in the last 8 years, nothing's changed at Man United. We have been playing catch-up. I do believe that mistakes have been made in the last 8 years, and that's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. You know, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. You know, that's 8 years ago now. Solskjaer said we will never ever give up on the title. 3 managers have been sacked since Ferguson. That was Moyes, Van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and there'll be more videos coming up very, very soon.